Gonna feel like
I did it.
late October, early November.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Yikes.
Nope.
I didn't think.
Oh, no, I did.
Oh,
It was simply the list of things.
oh, okay. Cause I'm like. Okay.
Yeah, the numbers won't matter to you, but the rest was like a list of what we were doing with the grant, when I met with everybody. Yeah. That was the purpose of that.
Okay, 6 o'clock. Okay, it's August 19th, 2025, and I call the meeting to order. The first item on our agenda, this is Joe Carl. I think we're giving our names before we speak for those that might be tuned in. Is to approve the minutes from the previous meeting, and I apologize, I was indisposed, so I was not here. But do we have a motion to accept the meeting minutes from the last meeting?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes from the last meeting.
Do we have a second? Excellent. Scratch number one, we're on to number
You
two.
need to vote to approve them.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You need to ask.
See that? I get rusty so quickly. Any changes to the minutes?
I'm all set.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Majority rules. Now we can scratch number one on the list. Second item for tonight is citizen comments. Any citizens, both here and online, that would like to speak? I'm say that's a no. So now we're on to number three for our agenda. Marketing committee update.
I don't know if anybody from the marketing committee is here. That was Brian and Cortland. Right.
Okay, so we're going to table that for the next meeting. And in the meantime, we will remind them that we need that for the next meeting. I will take care of that. I'll put that on my to-do. Okay, item number 4, neighborhood development area update.
You want me to get that?
Yes,
Jason, or
please.
Okay, so we are the necessary changes to the development bylaws are going to the select board tomorrow for their review and hopeful adoption. As soon as that's done, regional planning will be submitting the application to the state. And then I'm not sure exactly what the time frame is on the state's, ability to review and or accept, but
Basically, if you just give it to them in time enough for their next meeting, they'll
Okay.
deal with it at that next meeting. So it's really a timing issue.
and do you know how often they meet?
Once a month, I think.
Once a month.
So, relatively within a month of when select.
Okay.
acts.
So I mean, I guess without knowing exact dates, what I can say is by all accounts, between what we're doing and the work we're doing with regional planning, we're on schedule to kind of get the NDA approved. And I think, what this is really about from a timing point of view is there has been some discussions at the state level that says eventually we won't consider any more NDA applications. So if you want an NDA, get it in now. Because eventually we're going to close that door. Once that door is closed, then you really have to wait until all of the future land use maps that are the state and regional planning is working on is sort of baked. And that could be not until
Next year.
next year sometime. So, so I guess the high level summary is it's on track and we're looking good.
Jason, there was a time when they used to encourage communities to go up to the meeting to present. They're not doing that anymore, I take it.
That's a
Maybe
good
COVID killed that. I don't
question.
know.
I think it's mostly hybrid these days. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but stay tuned. It's been a little bit of a process to get to this point, but I think we're getting there.
Yeah.
Can we tell how many people are tuned in?
Nobody is on.
Nobody's on.
It's recording.
So just for the sake of recording, NDA is Neighborhood Development Area. Is that, isn't that where the towns are able to expand their local zoning and have higher densities? And you're saying so that
Well, it's not quite that. It's not quite
Could you
that.
maybe
Yeah, so
expand on that?
at a high level, what it's really doing is creating an expanded, it's sort of not changing the zoning really that much. It's basically creating a larger area of the village center. All right, let me back up and try to make this a little more clear. Right now, there is a designation where you're able to get some Act 250 relief and some grants for higher density housing. What we're doing is we're expanding the diameter of that
Mhm.
to include other areas that Chester believes really should be targets for more additional housing. And so in order to sort of get that designation, that's why it's called, a neighborhood development area. We're basically making the circle a little bigger, but that requires us to go through an application process with the state that says, hey, I know the circle looks like this. We want to make the circle look like this because we have opportunities for denser housing and we have water and sewer infrastructure. So please accept our recommendation to make the circle bigger. There's an application process that goes along with that, which is the NDA application, and associated with that NDA application were a few adjustments to our bylaws so that we were sort of following the state guidelines for best practices with respect to a denser housing development model.
And so Hugh, you were saying that the state is shutting that down. So we're ahead of the curve from other towns, perhaps by submitting.
Well, only because there's this big, it's called Act 181, and the state has decided as part of an overarching, initiative to sort of take another look at Act 250. They're finally, going after this statewide land use strategy, which will cast sort of what parts of the state are really considered rural and have even higher Act 250 oversight, and other parts of the state or towns where Act 250 oversight is sort of a huge overkill. So they're finally getting after doing that work. But once they close the door on this NDA, until that work is done, we're kind of in limbo. And so the reason that Chester wants to do this is because we have 3 or 4 potential housing initiatives that could move forward within the next year or so. And we don't want to be in a position where we say, we really can't take advantage of those because we don't have the NDA and the future land use work isn't done. So then we go into sort of a holding pattern. So we didn't want to get stuck in that position. So we're trying to be proactive and get the NDA so that if the work on Act 181 gets stalled or delayed, it doesn't block us from doing our work.
Excellent. Any
And
questions?
Jason, just like if I said something that was out of turn, just kind of straighten that
Well
out.
done, gold star.
Okay.
The one thing I'd just say is, if we're successful, and hopefully we will be, with this, what it really does is it gets those housing sites that we've been talking about on the map. And it would, basically those sites would be, exempt from Act 250. And would, open up some funding opportunities through the Wyndham and Windsor Housing Trust or other organizations that would really help a housing project. You think?
Well, and the
Get
Act
done.
50 exemption,
That's
huge.
big. That's
Oh,
really,
of course.
that's
And
really,
maybe chip.
Yeah.
Maybe the chip
Right.
stuff, right?
Well, Chip would be eligible, yes.
Either way.
regardless, but
Oh,
either way,
regardless, okay.
this really does set us up for
Okay.
Chester first
Right.
and good. Hopefully some better chances of
Right.
getting a housing project done.
Okay, good.
Great. Any questions from the committee? And we still don't have anyone signed up, so I'm going to say that we've satisfied item 5. We can move on, 4, I'm sorry, and move on to item 5. Housing Committee webpage.
So that was me, and I did offer at the last meeting. Right now, if you were to go onto the town website and look up Chester Housing Commission, you get sent to a blank page that has a list of, well, no, it doesn't have names. All it does is has agendas and minutes. That's it. So my attempt here, I mean, we don't necessarily need this group's committee to update our town website. We're doing it all the time. But I thought it would just be good to get the tone right and to get whatever else. And my skills are based to working with Word, with Word document. I'm not a web master. So I just tried to make something that looked kind of bright and cheerful. Because people are always worried about what our affordable housing sites will look like, I thought we ought to take pictures of three projects we have, which I think look nice. The one slight mistake is I did at the top say it's 9-member. It should be 7. Our bylaws say it can be up to 9, but you did correct me that select board established us as 7. And then I guess I would say on the first page, just because the rest is just boilerplate, whether you think the tone is right. I quoted some people and said some things, but and the nice thing about a website is we can just keep updating it as we go. That's the nice thing. It isn't like a hard copy brochure that you can't change until the next you run out of the ones you printed.
So if there's any feedback from the public and or the committee, we can email Preston and suggest changes.
And we can hang all kinds of documents on there if we want to. I mean, we can, I just simply, I have a click here for our governing bylaws, but I mean, we could put a whole study. It certainly hangs
Does it
out
cost
there.
money to link it to the study or put extra pages up? Okay, so then I'd suggest that we do a link to the study that we've done.
So this is quite different. I mean, I don't know if it's quite different, but it's kind of what the website looks like. It's going to be fairly different than what our marketing approach is, I would think. They could be coordinated, but they don't have to. And we'll have to figure out how to make the link work. Right now, this is getting wonkier than you need to, but it's money can go in, but there's often a lot of confusion at the other end of what it's designated for.
Right there.
And we probably need to be clear about that, because we've had a few times where people go online and pay for a zoning permit and it gets credited to their tax bill or something like that. We just make sure that doesn't happen.
Sounds great.
Yeah, thank you. And the little graphic at the top is one of those freebies you can get online. And like I said, I'm limited in my design characters, but I just spaced the lettering to make it look like a cube, and there we are.
That's good.
Well,
If someone
thank
comes up
you.
with something else, we can do it.
Thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
But just what you said, I
No.
know people talk about, affordable housing, what that might look like. And what it currently looks like is great.
I can't
People don't really understand.
tell you how many times people have said, oh, no. 40 units, oh, God. I said, well, Hudson Brook's 24, is that all right? Oh, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I mean.
So what
Right.
is- Yeah. Drawing people's attention
Yeah.
to what they're used to.
Right.
So,
Some people have a vision of like city brick, housing projects.
I mean,
Depends on where you came from.
We- we talked a little bit about, Julie and I went to a meeting this morning and there was a little bit of a conversation about, pre-built modulars. And so some people, ooh, that's gonna be ugly, but it doesn't have to.
Right.
Yeah,
That's old school.
Yeah.
I mean, even in the regular real estate industry, when you say modular or pre-built, it's brushed over now. I mean, you said it 20 years ago and it was shock,
Yeah.
but now people are used to that.
There's one modular in my neighborhood where I live in Woodstock where they stacked 4 units and then put, you know, sort of the wide board trim around it. It looks great. It looks like an old house. You cannot tell.
A lot of times they're better quality than stick built in the field there.
Years ago, when you had a modular home on the defensive home, the thing that it stands in on. Is that still possible?
I think like any, you can get warranties for about any home, even used homes. When you buy a home, you can get a warranty. You know, it's like buying insurance. So I don't know what a current warranty on a modular built or, so there's so many different things. You have panelized, you've got modulars. I'm sure they all have some sort of warranty.
Yeah, 20 years ago now, but it had to have a single one.
And there were different types. Remember, there were types that you lowered on a foundation. There were types that came in on wheels, and then you had to take the wheels off and cut the tongue off the trip. So there's just so many different types now that there's different parameters and rules. But go ahead. Any
Yeah, the
questions?
only thing I was thinking about with respect to this and sort of the perception, and I don't know whether this will make sense or not, but I remember at the meeting that was in Chester with all the regional planning folks, you know, they did some presentations of the projects that are going on up in Middlebury and a couple of other places. So I just have this recollection in some of those slides. They showed some graphics of the stuff they were building, and it was really nice.
Yeah.
So it was, you know, so that's just, it's not just us making it up that it has to be nice. That it's actually happening in other parts of Vermont that are a couple of steps ahead of us, and it actually is nice. So if there's a way to pull in any of that content, you know, if we need more pictures of things, not saying we do or we don't, but I thought of that while we were having this conversation. So I just thought,
I might add, I live in a 4-box modular. So, I mean, was put up in 03 and we've been very happy. So.
I think that was my only thought. It was just the affordable housing term, and do we need to define it? Or I think the pictures do a lot, but that's just the one thing maybe to think about is people's perception of that term might not be good.
I will say that a lot of people love the term workforce housing, but there are people who say, well, 40% of the country doesn't work for various reasons, and so you're being exclusive.
Yep.
I know that we've been very fortunate in Chester not to get too much criticism, but when you do, it's always like, well, we don't want Section 8 housing. How can you guarantee it's not going to be Section 8? So we have to kind of struggle to define our words. Affordable, sometimes it's like the senior center. It's great, but you have to have such a low income to get in there that most of us wouldn't qualify. So, I mean, you have to be, you just run into these issues with words. The new word that I hear that they're trying to say is kind of less stigmatizes is missing middle housing.
Yep.
I don't know. But
Just
you're right.
have a
I did
person know what that
use the
means.
word affordable. You're right.
yeah.
But it will be multiple, it could be workforce housing,
Mhm.
affordable housing, it could be
Yeah.
senior housing. And that might be important right now, because I mentioned it to someone that made them right into the affordable housing, that's, I wouldn't, I would never.
Well,
Still-
right, it's affordable housing, right?
Go down.
Yeah.
It's affordable, then there's low income,
Right,
and they're two different things.
right, I mean, affordable, you'd have to be, don't have to make
It's
sense.
funny to me, affordable sounds fine, but some people think of these HUD high-rise
Yeah.
buildings
Right.
and stuff like
Yeah.
that were such a failure. That was low income, yeah.
Yeah. Being used in multiple settings and multiple environments.
You know,
Same
it
thing.
might be almost worth switching affordable for missing middle. And to Jason's point, if they don't know what it is, it'll probably be better than the fact that they already feel really bad about the word affordable. So might cause them to say, what is that? And what does it mean?
I'd like to expand on that. So if we use somewhere in the verbiage of the website, we use middle missing, and then we say middle missing as defined or is defined as work. Well, I'm sorry, help me out because the train of thought, it's workforce housing and affordable housing. So middle missing housing is defined as workforce housing and affordable housing. So if we put it in there somewhere, we're giving the definition. I don't think anyone can come back at us as a committee and say that we're being discriminatory.
Right.
And we could link to, the state's documentations and definitions and all that kind of a stuff without.
You know, the program
spending a
we're
lot of
at this morning, Let's Build Houses, they try very hard to say, we're building houses for all income levels, all people.
Right.
Yeah. That still doesn't really. One person pushed back and said, well, the rich don't need help, but they were saying, no, but we don't need that.
Right, we're not talking about.
I use the words for like first time buyers,
Yeah,
something like that, that immediately clicks with a lot of people. First time buyers or move up buyers or move down buyers, something to that effect. People who
Yeah.
are already in something, maybe they want to
Yeah.
out and give it to something smaller, as seniors, or first time buyers.
Why don't we put our mission statement on the website,
Okay.
right? I mean, that
And
defines what we're,
Which one is that?
well, I didn't say I had that.
Okay. There is the
Because the mission statement,
Statement from the bylaws, the governing bylaws, that's what you have.
That's what I was.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think Preston, my point of view on this part of it is, you can't put affordable in there. You have to get rid of that word
Okay.
because it doesn't matter what we say around this table.
Yeah.
When somebody sees the word,
Yeah.
they think exactly what the person, and even if you try to explain it on the web page,
Okay.
as soon as they saw that
Turned
word,
off.
they stopped reading. It just went to a place that was bad. So,
Everyone reads it.
Yeah.
But we're on jobs, we're working
Right.
every day.
Right.
Yeah.
so do you want to read it there, just so everyone knows what it says?
Yeah.
It's the top, I think.
So the mission, the mission statement that was adopted is the mission of the town of Chester. I'm sorry, the mission of the Town of Chester Housing Commission is to create a strong, sustainable, inclusive community and quality, affordable housing for all.
And I would push on the idea of getting rid of the word.
really? Okay.
Because I understand that there are people that are reacting to it.
Yep.
But the words have meaning. And when you say we're gonna get rid of that word, what
Yeah.
you're going to do is create an enormous amount of verbiage in order to, in effect, say, affordable. And from the perspective of someone who does not find the word affordable offensive.
Yeah.
But I see all the people who are triggered by it.
Yeah.
And they're thinking that it means section 8, that it means the wrong type of people are gonna be in that neighborhood.
Mhm.
But the word affordable means exactly what it means it's affordable. And if you're going to say we can't use the word, that means what we're really talking about, which is affordable housing, then you create the need to say all sorts of things that for some people are going to read it and say, well, why don't they just say what they mean? They mean it's affordable housing. Why aren't you saying that it's affordable?
But affordable obviously means different things.
I'm in favor of trying to define our terms, but I would push back on the idea that we now have to change our mission statement to remove the word affordable from it, and that it becomes a word that you can't say. Because that's.
Well, then maybe we don't lead with it.
Well,
I would deal with that.
What the mission statement says is, puts it at the end, says housing which is
Is
affordable
affordable
for
for
all. Which is a little different than saying we're
It is a
building
little
affordable housing.
It is different.
But so that's why I'm comfortable with the mission, but I'm getting the word here that we don't
Don't lead with it.
lead with the buzzword affordable housing, and I can do that.
Use it as the
Yeah.
adjective.
Right,
Say housing that is affordable for all, instead of the trigger word affordable housing.
Yeah.
That sounds wonderful.
Yeah. I agree.
Okay. This is
Okay,
it's helpful.
I think-
Sure.
Is everyone satisfied that we've covered the housing committee webpage? Yes,
I
okay.
think I got enough guidance.
We can go on to the presentation of housing feasibility study.
So at the last meeting, we talked about, so the feasibility study is complete. and how do we want to launch it? So we absolutely can put it on the new webpage, for sure. I was gonna make an announcement of it at the select board meeting tomorrow night. Feasibility study is complete. It's gonna be on the webpage. We can certainly launch it on Facebook, a link to it. We can certainly do, is there anything extra special that you want to do to get it out there? We can certainly also remember, Fall Festival, there's a booth. So we could, have some cards maybe with a link. I don't know how to make QR codes, but with a link that people could,
What's
hand
the,
out. Here's the link to the feasibility study.
what's the date of that, Julie?
20th and 21st
Of,
September.
okay, so that's why it's important that we get a hold of our marketing committee.
Correct. So
So,
could you ask them to work on a card that we could hand out at that?
yep,
That has the link to the.
it'd be nice to have a poster with a QR code.
Exactly. Yeah, I just don't know. how to
Okay.
make it.
Did we get anything from the SE group, a summary or a poster or?
Oh, I'm sure.
2-pager or?
I'm sure I could get them to, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I mean, it's great content, but even, their version of sort of the executive summary is probably
Lengthy,
too lengthy.
right.
But so it should go on our webpage. And if we have a marketing thing in Facebook somewhere someday, and it can be a link to that from there, but unless you can summarize it up to, like an executive soundbite that's in a page or two, then it's going to be.
Yeah.
The only people that are going to go after are the people that really want to go in the weeds on it. Once they see it's 30 pages or whatever it is, or like, yikes.
I've had some people get in touch saying they want to see the study, and as you know, it's too big to even email. It's
Yeah.
massive.
Yeah, it is.
And I end up cutting parts of it out and sending it for what they want. And it's great to be so big, but there would be.
Once you have
it'd
all
be
the
nice.
initiatives to it.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
And a lot of people want, well, at least the ones that talk to me, they want the appendix about the open house
Correct.
because it was such a success.
So if we can get it on the webpage
Yeah.
and then do a QR code to the webpage, that's the idea.
Yeah.
Are there any boards available from what's up there that they typically call it something?
They took it with them, but I'll email them.
Because for the festival, if there were some things on easel.
Oh, no, wait a minute. I have them. They're rolled up on the back of the couch in my office.
That would be something
Let
that.
me go grab them real quick.
Well, I think,
See what we
People
have.
could look at, physically look at where it is and what's going on, and it would be very interesting. And probably a ton of local people. at the
part of the problem is their sticky notes on them. And,
Right.
they could be falling off all over the place, but maybe we put a piece of something over it, clear plexi board or whatever. Anything is, if we have the props, why not use them?
It'll make it interesting, rather than just having a table with a bunch of
Right.
stuff.
You could photograph them and they have a big enough plotter. Thank you, Peter. Yeah,
We have all of them.
oh, great.
It's lots of stuff here.
Oh, yes. So not all,
All of them, got all the things that they had up.
yeah, I don't know why I was remembering sticky notes, but they're dots.
Oh, there's dots.
Yeah, so the dots are fine.
It's all kinds of stuff here.
Stuff that people wrote.
Yeah.
But that's okay, because it just shows
But-
that there was interaction.
Right.
going on this last spring.
Right.
just the mechanics of how many boards we get them out.
Well, exactly.
Well, I know there's too many here, so like, if you were doing something at the festival, you'd have to probably boil it down to like.
Right.
Like said, take pictures and print, that's more exciting, having 2 or 3 up that are visible. That could summarize it, because I think people are engaged if they can look at something and come up and say, wait, you're doing okay, I prepped and now I'm gonna ask, instead of just looking at a card that doesn't summarize it, those are 3.
I think if you had the 2 or 3 sort of top priorities and most feasible options, and you just show them as a
Yeah.
display, draws people in.
Yeah, because people they're gonna stand in front of it for all of 2 minutes or a minute.
Oh, probably just a table. I don't have a.
Because if there was a canopy and had a side, but you could attach things
Yeah.
on the side, people could literally walk around that 10 by 10 area.
Yeah.
And check things out. Check my market.
How are they
It's-
moved up How were they mounted when we had the
I
thing?
think they were on easels.
They were on easels. They had like boards and.
Yeah. I mean,
I might have, like, we could get a piece of Luan. I probably have a piece of Luan and we thumbtack them onto it.
Yeah.
I mean, the town owns one easel that's upstairs, but
Right.
yeah, we don't, they're kind of expensive.
If we're under a 10 by 10 tent type of thing. Oh, I've got a tent.
Okay.
Okay, and then I'll figure out a way to hang 2 or 3 of those.
Okay. So
Put
you
that
want,
up.
me to- you want to take these with you so you can be looking
I
at?
think what we should do is pick the 3 or that we want.
Okay.
And we can do that after the meeting.
You know, planners use foam core, but even that is so expensive. It's just.
We can.
Oh, I've got plenty of boards
Yeah.
that we can use. And then, so one thing I'd like to interject that I jotted down is with this event on September 20th and 21st, we need to have the committee sign up for who can work that tent. So if we could put that on the list for future agenda items.
What's the date?
it's gonna happen.
Oh, September.
Yeah. I'll send, how about if I send an email out?
Great.
Do we want to do slots of like 4 hours? 2 hours?
So that's peak foliage. For me, well, it can either land on the last 2 weeks of September or first 2 weeks of October, depending on, so that tends to be, what it depends on the time, because that's like, for me, I'm work weekends, so
Festival is 9 to 4. 9 to 4 Saturday.
I probably would, yes, I could probably figure out a way to do the couple of hours in Saturday morning.
So, so should I do it in 2 hour segments?
More manageable. Yeah.
I wish I could, there's no way, but I would similarly.
And citizen volunteers can also, I mean, it's not like in real estate, you have to be a realtor to have an open house, right? We can get citizen volunteers to stand there too. If we can't be there, so. Okay. So that's the presentation. I think we can say we've satisfied item 6.
Group to do a post.
No, I think we can utilize what we have. So, on to 7, board member tasks and old business. So in the minutes from, last week, we had tasks that we talked about. And I was not at that meeting, so if anyone wants to interject. I have it right here. Julie said she and Preston had discussed the possibility of local options tax on rooms, meals, and alcohol.
That is being presented and it's being discussed tomorrow at the select board meeting. Preston's done up a sheet for the board, it's kind of talking points. The board won't be making any decisions tomorrow, but, they wanted to start conversations early, well ahead of town meetings to kind of get the conversations going. And so that, first conversation will be tomorrow night.
Okay.
The board talked about that last year?
They did, but they just
there
felt
a
like
reason
it was just too soon.
Okay.
There hadn't been a lot of conversation.
Okay. Good.
Not that they're opposed, they just want
Okay.
conversation early.
Yep.
Did we cover this? Preston had given a presentation at the ZA roundtable.
I think we covered that.
Yeah. Okay,
There's
great.
nothing in that, but
Yeah,
I did
great.
talk a little bit.
Um,
And it was
So
well
maybe-
received, by the way. Thank you.
Right. And then Sharon wondered if we could collect donations for the housing fund.
Started.
All right.
Nice.
I've got people at the candy shop and they have leftover change. And sometimes they don't want 25 to 30 cents of
Yeah.
whatever it is, and they're like, keep it. I'm like, no, we'll put it over there in that jar. And that's what's going on. I just started 2 weeks ago, so we'll see. I'll bring the money in next month. I was looking at it today. I was like,
So do we want to I'll see if there's a little mini house piggy bank. Maybe we could leave them around at stores. Why not?
that's a great idea.
Actually, that's great, I think.
This is a big, it's a clear glass base, actually pretty big and tall, so they can see it a little bit on the front. And if anybody has questions, they can start answering questions, but usually everything else is.
Okay, I'm scanning through this. If anybody has feedback for other tasks, speak up.
Okay, somebody called me, said they want to sleigh ride. And get
Oh, yeah, it was a raffle. It was a raffle in the open house.
Oh, I remember that. We were gonna pull a tap from. You ever pull a tap from them?
No, no,
You did.
They were drawn.
they had all
They
the.
came from the email
Yeah.
list. They were drawn and they were emailed.
Okay.
There's a real person and they would have to get the actual gift certificate. Yes,
Okay,
and the blueberry picket
no,
and make that maybe they will next year.
So you got a call, they got a call from somebody.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
were like, "Ah." We were waiting till we had more email response and then we were. gonna
Yes.
do it.
No, I-
It was done. It was done a while ago. And I think I emailed you the name of the two that got them. I can find that email and resend it. That way you know the names. I can do that. Yeah.
Got the $25.
Oh, good.
Oh, that's nice. Great. Any other board member tasks or old business to discuss? Okay, we've satisfied item number 7. On to number 8, new business. Next agenda.
So next agenda, you've got marketing committee update.
Yep. I'd like to bring up some new business, if I may. I'm sorry?
I'll be quick. Bring up here.
Yeah.
Do you talk to Bob? Please?
Yes, yeah, we'll let you go and then I was just.
So I was tasked before the reaching out to some of my clients that are in the building business, and I have a very good friend who built a incredible house in Ludlow, and he's a Connecticut builder, and it builds throughout New England. And I sent this email to the committee for Penrose, and they're willing to meet, like they're interested in coming in and being the developer and manager. And I just need to set up a time and to ask them to meet after hours. I think, circle back and said they probably could, but maybe we get a few people that can meet in your office and Zoom them during the midweek. You're okay with that? And I can pick a couple of times and we'll run here during the midweek, do a Zoom, get a feel for what they're offering, and then we can come and report back to the committee. Does that sound fair? Okay, great. So I will arrange that.
My new business. Preston and I today went to Let's Build Homes, had a presentation. They're going around the state. They had a presentation today in Queechee, so we both attended that. It was good. I mean, Let's Build Homes they're really getting themselves up and running as a resource for communities. Miro Weinberger is the head of that, and he referenced Chester several times, which was kind of nice. After that, Preston and I and Aaron had a conversation with Bob Flint, because my question is still, this is all great. I've checked off one thing off the list. I'm a checklist person. What is step 2? And so through that kind of side dialogue, Aaron and Bob were both like, you need to do you need to bring somebody in to help you with the pro forma that then gets given to a developer. And this consultant, because my other question is a lot about, so I understand CHIP, it's a mini version of a TIF for different types of purposes, but how's it really work? At the end of the day, I'm gonna bond for $5 million, who's paying the bill? So like, I really want to know those details of how that works. And so Bob is going to get me the name of some consultants. There is a big one, is it White and Burke?
White and Burke.
That Burlington uses. They're kind of the premier, but they're very expensive from what I'm being told. They're very expensive, and that there are others around that are just as good. So Bob's going to get me some names. I'll get us some names. start having some conversations, because I think that might be worth being the next step. Bringing a consultant in that can help us then take us to the next step. CHIP applications will likely open. I think Aaron said it's expected for spring of next year, so we just really want to be ready.
Can you define CHIP?
So CHIP is the tax
Community housing
infrastructure.
infrastructure program.
So tax increment financing is a tip. And Jason, you probably translate this way better. Tax increment to financing is a tip. CHIP came in as a mini version for smaller communities to be specifically targeted towards housing or infrastructure development that promotes housing. So it allows you to borrow basically against future grand list revenue. It's how it works. And so town can apply for CHIP, and I believe that developers can also apply for CHIP
Is CHIP,
this time.
is CHIP for profit or government?
It's government.
It is, okay.
So, kind of the inner workings of that, because if the town goes forward with the CHIP application to do the infrastructure, the town is putting up the bond. But the town isn't paying it back. Or there's a percentage that the town pays back. It's like the education portion is what the state pays against their future grand list growth. It's very complex. So a developer, I'm not a developer, a consultant would be able to help us start having those conversations. One of the things that Alex Torpy, formerly of Hanover, was talking about, he's got a very valid point, is it's great for committees like this to sit around and have these conversations, or for town managers in their office to talk to people as consultants. But then you bring it to a select board who typically has no concept of what any of this means, because they're not in the conversations to the same level. And that's the board you got to get on board, right? So, and typically, I mean, we have Peter who has done development in his past, but often you also have select board members who have no development background. So then they really don't understand. So we want to start that education early. And I think that that's where, again, bringing in a consultant, no idea of what cost that is. So I'll get some names and numbers from Bob and start having those conversations. And I'll be able to report back in the future. But I just, what I emphasized and talked to Miro about too was we want to be ready, because there's a limited number of dollars in CHIP funding. And what is unknown is how many towns will be ready and how many towns won't. But if we want in on that, then, and we have community support at this point, we have select board support. So it'd be nice to keep that momentum going. And any hurdles that we're gonna have, address them now, before we get too far down.
So CHIP is basically for the infrastructure, not for developing the property itself, right?
No, I think it is for developing the property itself. My understanding is it can be for both. But CHIP, what's unique about CHIP is it is allowing infrastructure to be part of it. The other piece that it allows, if you're awarded a CHIP, is those funds can also be used for technology and consulting and legal services, which is unusual. So it would help fund. Like if we did a CHIP, we would be having somebody that managed that CHIP for the town. We don't have, I mean, even Burlington has a consultant. They don't have on staff people that manage it. They're too complex. They're a tax liabilities.
So one question I have about that is just, do you think it would ever be possible to just use CHIP to put in the water and the sewer in the road infrastructure for the water tower property, even if you didn't really have a commitment yet to build the housing? I mean,
Yeah.
could it be one of those things where it's like, because everybody says that's like a non-starter for all the developers. If the road was in and the infrastructure was there, then a developer might actually say, I'll think about it. But
We would
So,
To the top, the developer's list, if we handed them a piece of land that was fully ready for them to just put their house in. So
Right,
yes,
so-
but I am sure, and these are some of the details that are still being worked out by the
Yeah.
legislature. But I'm sure that there will be a timeline
yeah.
on when
yeah,
that development needs to take place.
Yeah.
Well, only have 12 and a half. So once you look at $5.6 million. You're into $500,000 an acre before you thought about living. So the problem is there's gotta be a quick graph of real, you're not gonna get on a first time buyer house thing. You're not gonna get that kind of tax credit.
Well, that's where that pro forma consultant comes in. That's what they do. They run those numbers, do those calculations and help you determine that.
Well, I mean,
I want a professional consultant doing it for the town before we take the liability.
yeah, I mean, I also
I don't
think,
want to just us pencil it on paper. We need to have a
Right,
consultant
no,
doing
okay,
that for us.
well, then maybe one of the things the consultant could do wouldn't they be able to validate SE Group's analysis that said we should be able to get between, what was it, 60 and 100 or whatever?
Yeah, I
So
would,
either that's true or it's not.
I would think so.
And if it's not, we should know it. And if it is, then it's not 20 something units, it's 60 something.
And-
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe
Absolutely.
they can do that too.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
I'll get some names and then I think, whether we do it as a bid, well, we've got to find out an average cost first, but, whether we do it as a bid. And therefore we can do some research about what is exactly is it we want them to do. And I think this is where regional planning and Aaron certainly can help. I mean, what exactly is the scope of what we want them to work on for us? And so we can have those further conversations, but just letting you all know, and by the time we have the next meeting, I'll have some names. I'll have some names. of folks.
I think, part of the pro forma thing would be, what are the things that the town can do? What are the grants? What are the tax credits, the whatever that could be available to bring the cost down? I think it's $600,000 a unit or whatever to do the construction. What's it take to make it profitable for a developer? Pro forma can illuminate all those things. And that'll make it a lot more doable for
Yeah, exactly.
the project.
Yeah, I think it'll help identify those
Yeah.
next hurdles to Peter's point. Is it even a hurdle, right? Is it even cost effective?
Probably won't be without some subsidies, chip and whatever else we can
Absolutely.
figure out.
But
Yep,
if- if
agreed.
you keep different properties like ours. You can pay quite a bit more an acre compared to what you pay up there.
Right, well, part of it could be, the town's gonna sell you this subdivided lot for $1. Or whatever, that could be some part of that metric.
Right.
Any other new business? Anything to put on the next agenda? Would anyone like to make a motion to adjourn? Anyone second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, have a good night, everyone.
All right.
Thank you.
You're gonna jump on the marketing committee?
Yes, I'm on them.
Well, whatever is the.
Good.
I don't know.
Very bright.
He was very bright. She was.
Well, the second and third.
Wasn't like,
Okay.
looked like
So 16, yeah.
Which is just before.
Just before, okay. So I'll send an email out about sign ups for volunteering.
I wish I could, there's no way.
I've been limited to, but,
I head out of town somewhere.
Who's on the marketing committee? Court,
Portland, Brian,
Yeah.
and then I think you had said that you would chime in when you could, but those two.
Oh, yeah, Brian figured out himself.
what's Brian's email? Do you have that handy?
Thank you.
Is it
I really
Kennedy?
believe that,
I think, see, the thing is, it's take the data and put it down on something.
Oh, yeah.
Look at the town website.
I can-
They kind of, not saying they.
I'll copy you in, Julie.
Okay,
Curious
perfect.
about what's going on. Yeah. Got it.